Well, good evening. My name is Brittany Francis, and if you're a part of Top Tier's team, we are so excited that you are on tonight for our first Q&A. We are believing and hoping that this is going to be the first of many Q&As on Thursday nights. After we've been looking at what Champion Makers offers, and they are actually adding some incredible slides to their presentations, which is very exciting. I thought, why not a Q&A once a week? Why not a Q&A so that you as brand partners can jump on, but also for 30 minutes, why not a Q&A for those that you're excited to get on the patch and they might have some specific questions. And so I can be there to answer those, and also other leaders can jump on and answer as well, because I for sure do not know everything, but I do think that it's going to be a great opportunity. The other piece that I want you all to understand is that you are not obligated to stay on. If you on a Thursday night jump on and say, hey, I have a couple of questions, and you want to answer those couple of questions and jump off, my feelings don't get hurt. This is just here for you so that you feel like you have a family connection. If there are things that are happening, either on the inside of multiple questions as far as testimonies are concerned, then we can answer those for the first 30 minutes, and then we'll give everybody an opportunity at 8:30 to jump off. And then we will go into the business side, because there's one piece that I want everybody to understand. If you're a new guest on here, is that Top Tier, we are focused on testimonies. We are excited about this technology that we have our hands on. Our goal is to help every single person hear about this technology, because we want to see testimonies happen. And so with that, that's our number one goal. There's an incredible business opportunity attached to it. If you lean into the business side, it's going to blow your mind about how incredible it is. But the number one piece is testimonies. How can we help the people that we love get on this technology? And because I know that she won't be watching right now, I can say it. My aunt, she has Hashimoto's, and I was actually, my Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition, after using this technology for some time, was fixed. And so, my hope would have been, maybe one day that she could jump on a Q&A like this, where there's no pressure, and she could say, hey, can you tell me about, what testimonies you've seen with this or that? And I can help you actually find where you can find testimonies. So that's our goal. What Rick and I are praying about is that it will be every single Thursday, that Thursdays are Q&A nights. And so Mondays and Wednesdays are going to be champion makers nights. Business opportunity calls will be Fridays. Tuesdays, we will have testimony Tuesdays, and also a presentation. So we're going to really incorporate a little bit of everything for you guys, so that you guys have multiple options, but the Q&A is most certainly important. So with that, I want to ensure that everybody, if you have questions, you need to jump off, go for it. But you can absolutely raise your hand, which at the very bottom of your screen, if you just take your cursor and you scroll with your cursor down, and you just kind of hold it on the very bottom of your Zoom screen, you actually see the word with a heart, react. If you click that, it actually gives you the option to raise your hand. And so you can actually raise your hand, and then we'll just go through them. And my goal is that we'll have multiple other leaders. I see Dave and Diana Regis on. I see Jeff Anderson on. So I can actually make them co-hosts, and as you guys begin to really begin to grow your business, you guys can actually jump on and ask these questions. So, hopefully we have multiple leaders that can help us jump on and answer questions if I don't know the answer. So with that, if you want to, you can absolutely begin to raise your hand, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if not, as we're waiting, I will always share my screen, because this is the first time we're doing this. I'll share my screen. I'll show you guys where I find testimonies, so that you guys have access to everything and how I find testimonies, so that when people say, well, Wendy, What about my back? What about my neck? What about, then I'll show you guys all the different opportunities that you have. So if you would like to just go ahead and click the react button, I'll wait for a couple seconds. And if not, I'll begin to just show you guys all the different places that you can find the testimonies. Anybody at all have any questions? Yes. All right. Miss Brandy.
Hi, good evening.
Good.
Um, my question is, I love the testimonies in school that are not included in a Zoom. Do you know how often we get new ones included in that to pull from?
Yes. So actually, Dodie is the one that pulls them. So if they are compliant testimonies, okay, so compliant meaning my
Mhm.
body was healed from the patch, which is not accurate. The patch activates the body and the body heals itself. If they are compliant testimonies, then Dodie will take them and pull them. So that's what she's looking for. So every single week, her hope, like this, the last doctor Zoom, she will be pulling from those and be adding those to the doctor testimonials. And then the same thing whenever testimonies happen on Sunday nights. So just be looking. They haven't been updated in the last week, but last week they did add some. So just be looking for those and then you can pull from those. Perfect. All right, Miss Wendy.
Actually, I just wanted to add that some people that are using their iPhone, the raise hand option doesn't always work.
Ooh.
So just to let some of the players out there know, if they are on their iPhone and they can't figure that out, they may, Brittany, just need to go like this.
Yeah, raise your hand or type it in the because we
Or
use
type it
cell
in the
phones.
chat, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Especially if it's an older phone possibly that they're using,
Okay.
it doesn't always show up. So just thought I'd mention that
Oh,
to
I'm
help.
grateful for you. And Wendy, actually, I'm gonna make you a co-host just in case. Okay. All right, Miss Chrissy. You can
Can
unmute.
you,
There you go.
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, none of them want to promote links to another website. So, if it's a link to YouTube, it's not going to get blasted out as far into the ether as if it's a video that you made on your phone yourself and posted. So my question is there a way for us to get the actual video file versus a link to the video file so that we can just post it to our social medias as an original, not by making any changes or making it
Sure.
seem like it's ours, but so that the algorithm will blast it out the way we want it to.
Sure. So that's going to be more on the business side, and I will definitely help that on at 8:30. What I will tell you is that the links that we have are the links that we have. So they do ask for us to just use what they have, um not to post or repost specific other people's personal YouTube links or YouTube testimonies unless they are already shared on Facebook. So that would be something that you'd want to check on. But there are just so many testimonies out there that I agree, it has to be almost like your own. And we'll discuss that at 8:30. But for now, what I would say is that unfortunately there isn't a way to get the original video.
Okay. So up until recently, what I was doing was I was screen recording the video and reposting it because I had asked a couple people up my chain if it was acceptable for me to do that, and I kind of gotten the nod as long as I wasn't making any changes to it, and I wasn't. Um, but now I'm hearing you state that maybe they don't want me to do that if
Yeah,
it's
just
not been on
because
Facebook before. So.
Yeah, out of privacy. And you can, and like I said, we're gonna do the business stuff from 8:30 on.
Okay,
But
I'll stop.
no, you're
Sorry.
fine. But what I would say is if you private message them, they might say yes. So if you find them on Facebook and say, hey, your testimony was beautiful. Do you mind if I use it? They might give you an absolute go for it. I mean, more 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a yes. 9 times out of 10. So that's what I would say to do with that.
Okay. Well, it'd be really nice if the company could start doing that when they get the people's videos to begin with, just to get that release.
Yeah, Lifeway won't do that.
Okay, I'm done. I
Okay.
won't take any more of your time.
You're fine. All right. Thank you. Yes, Cameron, how are you?
Hi, Brittany. Good evening. I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. Thanks for setting this up.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple questions about the patch itself. Can you tell me why only 12 hours?
Yes, because what the body does in those 12 hours does so much work that the body has to rest. That
Okay.
I actually learned from Dr. Jen Sullivan. If you go to Patch EDU, which I
Hmm.
show everybody here, Patch EDU is probably the number one place to find really, really good answers. She's the one um, that created the patch manual. So she
Okay.
actually has some educational
Oh,
pieces.
okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And she actually talks about why attenuation happens. So like excessive fatigue, what's happening there if somebody has it.
Hmm.
Additional pain, what could be happening with additional pain. But actually, she also talks somewhere in here about attenuation. Oh, there you go. Well, no, not that one. She actually talks about attenuation, what happens when you wear it too long. And it's not that it's going to hurt you, it's that your body, just like if you were to take melatonin, too much melatonin, what would end up happening? Your body would stop producing the melatonin.
Okay. I experimented one night with it one day and I kept it on for about 16 hours, 18 hours, and I noticed I was getting more wound up.
Yes.
And I didn't, I said, I got to calm down here. So I thought that was the patch that was doing that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so it's
One
almost
last question.
overstimulating.
Okay, one last question before I sign off is in some of the videos, they show the molecular structure of the patch. And I've read online, and I actually have a friend of mine who's a biochemist. Um, I read online that a lot of people claim that that molecular structure shown is actually nonsensical. What do you say to that? And I was trying to figure that out. Why would that molecular structure be viewed by some people as nonsense?
Well, what I can tell you is in this business now for 18 months, I've heard multiple people say, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Um, meaning, how is somebody healing like that? Or how somebody, what I will tell you is that Dr. Sullivan, this is Jen Sullivan. She
Hmm.
has sat down with David Schmidt personally. So she's not making things up. She's not going to make medical claims. I'm pulling up what the patch is made of. She is not making medical claims. There you go, the anatomy right there. Is that what
Hmm.
we're talking about? So she actually sat down with David Schmidt and
Okay.
she got this approved. And so that's the anatomy according to David Schmidt. So she submitted her patch manual and actually had them look at it, LifeWave look at it. She actually had to restructure her patch manual because there were some things that they felt were a little too edgy. So what I will tell you is any information that Jen gets, she's going to double, triple check. Now, are there more things to this? I'm sure there's more pieces to it. They're not going to give all of their little, I mean, although it's patented, nobody can turn around and recreate it.
Right.
I'm sure that there's more to it, right? But how is it stabilized oxygen? How are all these things? I think all of the hows are the little question marks, right? And only David Schmidt and probably his entire team would understand that. But
Okay.
I'll tell you that the anatomy of the patch itself, she had to get that approved. And so
Okay.
that hopefully that's a sufficient answer.
Okay. Thank
David
you.
Schmidt, if you could corner him, he would probably be happy to break it down just because I've been there and I've gotten to ask him questions. He would love to break down every single thing. And I'm probably sure that if you said, hey, Dr. Jen Sullivan talked about the anatomy of the patch, what would you say to that? He'd actually be able to say that is accurate, but there's a deeper way of how we got that, blah, 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 you know?
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. More questions. All right, I'm going to keep on sharing. And I'm going to show y'all where we can find more testimonies. Okay, so there are several groups on Facebook. First of all, if you're new, Patching with Purpose, you want it to look like this one right here with the orange. I always tell everybody with the orange. Right here, okay, Patching with Purpose. It's a little bit sometimes difficult to get into. So you want to definitely ask your sponsor to invite you to this. And if they can't, I will make sure, here's my phone number. Um, and you can absolutely text me and say, Brittany, can you invite me to this? So if with Patching with Purpose, if you actually type in something that you want to see, like neuropathy, you actually can have access to the testimonies that tap on neuropathy. Okay. Um, and and that is a great place to start. The other place that I really like is Pat Yourselves on the Back. This one is one that is very easy to invite to, very easy to join. And she's extremely intelligent. She is with another group of individuals, not This Is It team, which I really like because you get a lot of options. They have other podcasts with Dr. Stacy, and a lot of people prefer, they like having Dr. Stacy. So, but again, you can go to the search and you can search whatever it is that you're looking for. Eczema. Well, guess what? It actually talks about how Alavita helps eczema in an incredible way. There you go. Leslie, eczema issues and psoriasis issues, testimonies there. So if you want to pull from anything, the Patching with Purpose and the Patch Yourselves on the Back is really phenomenal, really fantastic. Let's see. Okay, Brittany, I have someone with MS, vitiligo, and a knee that totally hyperextends. She's been patching for about 6 weeks and she's getting new vitiligo spots on her legs, and that hasn't happened in years, and she's very concerned. Any encouragement that I can give her? The encouragement I can tell you is to keep patching. Something is happening. So, whatever is maybe that underlying issue, that underlying cause, if you actually go to Patch EDU, sometimes things get worse before they're getting better because there's a leveling inside the body. And again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but over the last 17, almost 18 months, what I've learned from all these questions from all of my people is I've had to do research. And so with the research that I've gotten is, my arm actually is a perfect example. I had an arm issue that my nerve and my muscle were interact with one another, and I was told that I was going to need surgery. Well, at first, it got worse. It got worse before it got better. And so I actually went to patchedu.com. And when I went to patchedu, actually, like what I was showing Cameron is on the resources, it actually, or on the education, I'm sorry, on the education portion of it, it actually did talk about, is it getting worse before it gets better? Why? And there you go, your additional pain. And she actually talks about why this could possibly happen. Um, you know, and I loved going in and digging deep into her Zooms and her Q&As. She's incredibly brilliant. Dr. Jen Sullivan, she's incredibly brilliant on YouTube. She actually has a YouTube channel, and she actually opens it up for questions. And you can actually, there you go, Jen O'Sullivan, LifeWave. She actually has questions and Q&As that she goes into in very deep ways. So she this would be a great there you go, Cameron.
Hmm.
Attention with LifeWave patches. When I
Right.
tell you guys she's brilliantly smart, she's brilliantly smart. So she's somebody that I would absolutely really lean into. Um, and she'll talk about the business all the way now. She does her business a little bit different than the way we all do our business. We do ours a little bit easier, I have to say. So when it comes to the business side, I would definitely lean into Danny and Diane and Champion Makers and myself and Rick. But when it comes to understanding how we get paid or understanding how the patches work, she is really an incredible mentor. So I would absolutely lean into her and really you know share these pieces with those people that are asking these questions. Um, Jennifer, that's the one piece that I would say is education is everything. So, plugging her in to those types of resources is going to be great, like the vitiligo, the knee issue, all those pieces, they're going to get better. But her body's definitely resetting, definitely resetting. And Celeste, it's Jen O'Sullivan with LifeWave. So on the YouTube channel, you can look up Jen O'Sullivan. On Facebook, she's Patched EDU with Jen O'Sullivan. And I mean, look, she's at 30,000 members. She's just brilliant. She's really incredibly brilliant. So, really, really is a neat lady. And she does have questions on, like I said, so you guys, this is her patchzooms.com, and you can actually join her live Zooms for medical questions. So, she's really an intelligent woman. So hopefully that helps you guys with the Q&As, where to point your people. We didn't have this piece. Rick and I were really excited because we thought, oh my gosh, I'm more of a I want to know. Rick's like, I've heard it works. I want it, but there are some people that say, well, I want to know why, and so it's good to have all these resources, you know, at your fingertips. So that's another opportunity for testimonies. And really, those are the main ones that I have found that are really, really helpful. There are some that you find that I don't feel like they lean. I feel like it would be like me answering medical questions. If I don't know the answer, I'm not going to tell you I know the answer. I'm going to tell you and point you where to go. And the Patch EDU, the Patch Yourselves on the Back, and the Patching with Purpose, they are very careful about giving medical advice on things that they don't know about. So hopefully that helps there. The other place that is getting better is the testimonies. So keep your eye on these. These are starting to, Brandy, these are starting to get more involved. That's why they've been asking, Danny and Diane have been asking because Steve and Gina Merritt want more testimonies than just what they've had before. So the This Is It info is a great place. And then the other place that I do go to is Start X39 Now. You guys have heard me talk about the landing page, but the testimonies on there are really fantastic. And you can even share and send before and after pics. You can send this out, which is really cool. I love that tool. So, really helpful. They do add to these quite a bit. They have changed these from what I've seen. They've changed the stories. So they're really on top of that. And this actually gives you a again, I would not deviate from the champion makers Zooms or the top tier Zooms. But if you like to hear from doctors, they're actually there's some good doctor ones that are at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time on Tuesdays. So if you have people that are really sciency and they're into that, this is a great opportunity for with Dr. Stacy on Tuesdays, and they just go to the drstacyzoom.com and they can actually get to hear about the she's really brilliant. She's really smart. um, they can actually hear more about the science background. So we really like that. And Dr. Oh, you know what? Let me show you guys this one too. Stanley Bravely. Let me see. Let me find him. Dr. There you go. Here it is. If you guys want to screenshot this, Life Wave Living with Dr. Stanley Walker Gravely. He has almost as many followers by 100 as Jen Sullivan. Um, he he goes a little bit more into, and I know Cameron and I were talking about this. He goes a little bit more into the Bible piece of things or biblical things. So just know what you're getting with Dr. Stanley. But he's also an incredibly brilliant doctor. And on Thursdays, he has a medical doctor practitioner Zoom during the day. So the practitioners will actually talk about the different types of patches. Let's look that up. The practitioners. There you go. So these practitioner calls on Thursdays, you can actually look up practitioner under Dr. Stanley and look. So the practitioner's call was about cellular eyes and X39 last week. Okay. Which I think is great. Brain health. So that was the practitioner Zoom on brain health, on sleep. So these are in the middle of the day on Thursdays. And if you guys want to screenshot this, the Zoom room actually stays the same. And again, don't overwhelm yourself, you guys. Like, don't think that you have to be on all the Zooms, especially the champion makers ones. Invite every once in a while, get on. Definitely invite, bless people and invite them. But know that all these tools are here for you. You know, I send this to all of my surgeons once a week because I know that our surgeons are the ones that are the hardest to really understand this. It's different when you have a holistic doctor, but but they've done calls about hormones, they've done calls about inflammation.
Hmm.
I mean, these practitioners are really brilliant and they make it open to everybody. So really good for you guys to know about. I apologize because that is one that I follow quite a bit is Dr. Stanley. And so again, this is what it looks like. So he's a really neat guy. All right, let's see if we have any other questions. It's right at 8:28. Any other questions about where you can find testimonies? All right. Okay, well, good. So we're going to leave the Q&A about the testimonies. And if you are somebody that was invited to this, I just want you to know that we're excited about your testimony. We're excited about what the technology is going to do with your body, that your body's going to take care of the issues at hand. I can promise you that you're going to see incredible changes. But remember, 1 month per decade that you're alive at least. Really, Dr. Jen Sullivan says at least 1 year, 6 months per decade, or I'm sorry, 1 month per decade that you're alive, 6 months to see at the mitochondrial level an age reversal, right? And then 1 month per decade that you're alive really is great. And then 1 year is really where you're going to start seeing like these really crazy things, which I will tell you as somebody that's been wearing it for 18 months, there are some insanely big changes that I'm now seeing. Like my husband will now very, very happily drive with me at night because my eyesight's better. So with that, it's right at 8:29. So I'm going to end the Q&A about the testimonies. So if that's all you wanted, just know that you can jump off and that's wonderful. And so I'm going to stop the recording there. And again, this was the Q&A for testimonies that we will be having maybe every week. if not every other week. So we'll be seeing how a lot of our leaders feel about this and how they feel like it went. And we want to hear from you guys. So my phone number is on there. Text me if you enjoyed this, and so that we know how to better serve you.